Hello, my name is Kukwa and welcome once again to Count Your Blessing. Today on Count Your Blessing, I want to share a word of encouragement with all of us. Many times, as Christians, when we have prayed and we get a conviction that God has heard us, maybe we get a word from God leading us to on a particular direction, we tend to think that everything would align, will automatically work well because we have heard from God. Everything is going to be okay. But it's not that. It doesn't really mean that. So today I want us to look at a story in Judges 19 and take a lesson or two out of it. So in Judges 19, we see there are 12 tribes of Israel, but then we see 11 of the tribes gather together to fight one of them, that's the Benjamites. And the reason was that the tribe of Benjamin did something against one of the Levites. And then when the Levites went back to tell his story, it angered the other tribes. And then they gathered together to fight their brother, the Benjamites. And when they took the decision to fight their brother, guess what they did? They prayed about it. In fact, they just didn't pray about it. They asked God who should lead that battle. And God said Judah should go and lead the battle. So these brothers, I am sure, were very sure that this is going to be a win for us because we've prayed. We know God is backing us. God has taking the lead. He's even asked Judah to lead this battle. Everything is going to be a one-time win. And they go to war and they lose. I'm sure by now you may be recounting your own stories. It looks like your own story. Sometimes you fasted, you prayed, you are so sure that this one you heard God say, do this. Maybe take a business decision, you have to put in money, and then you take that direction, and boom, everything is at a loss. What do you do when you step into obedience, thinking you've heard God? In fact, hearing God, you step into obedience, and then defeat stares at you. What do you do? But these 11 brothers, after they were defeated, they returned, went back to the temple, prayed, cried on God, and waited on God again. And they went a second time. And a second time too, God told them, still go to the battle. And then they obeyed God. They still went to the battle and they still lost. How are you going to feel if that is going to happen to you? That you pray, you take a decision because God has spoken, and you really know that this one God said, and then you are defeated. You go back again, still pray, still wait on God. God says the same thing. You go forth, and then another defeat. Sometimes we may think that God just maybe sometimes we may even think that we even didn't hear from God. We may take people's credibility at stake that probably the person didn't hear from God. Even we may even doubt our own self and say that maybe we didn't do certain things right. But God is huge. That's how I can put it. And there is no searching in his understanding. We can never, ever, ever understand God completely. And so many times when God says go, it doesn't mean that everything will align the way we have envisaged or programmed our minds to think. Sometimes God says go means that, well, go into the lion's den. Let the lions play with you for a while. Sometimes God saying go means that go into the furnace and then just enjoy the burning flames. It doesn't mean that you are losing you or that God has forsaken you. It doesn't also mean that it was not God who spoke. God still spoke. God told the 11 brothers that Judah must lead, and they still were defeated. Sometimes some of the failures in our way, we must not always be quick to interpret it as the doing of the devil. Sometimes it is God who is behind it. And for many reasons which we cannot explain, because, like I said, there's no searching in his understanding. It took a third war for the 11 brothers to be successful. It was the time that they went out that they were victorious over their brothers, the Benjamites. How long are you going to wait for God's promises to be fulfilled in your life? Can you take it a third time? Can you even take it a fourth time? If you have failed and failed and failed again, can you still try another time when God tells you to go again? Sometimes, like Elijah, you'd have to pray through 7 times before the rains will come. And we read it and we think it may be a small something, but we should consider the journey that the servant had to be taking, up and down for the 7th time, and yet he persisted in prayer. We need to be persistent. Sometimes we need to look beyond what is happening and trust God that even though things are still dark, what he has said would come to pass. And the truth is that it will always come to pass, no matter how long it takes. If you don't give up, if you don't lose hope, and you hold on to it, you will surely get to the promise that God has promised you. My assignment today is to encourage you and then let you know that you are not so alone in the wilderness season. Many people have been there. Many people will keep being there. But you have to keep on keeping on. You have to hold on to the vision, because the vision will surely speak at the end. And if you don't give up, the end will always be glorious. Don't give up. Never ever give up, because it will surely end in praise. This is Kukwa Andam, and you've been watching Count Your Blessing. Thank you for watching. We will meet another time.